Have you ever made a decision because of pain? Have you ever tried to fix things because waiting felt too hard? Sarah did. But her story reminds us that even when we make broken choices, God's grace can still cover us. His promise isn't cancelled by our weakness. And though our plans may fail, His never will. Sarah's plan was born from pain. But God's plan was born from love. And in time, that plan would bring her real joy. Every time she walked past the quiet corner of the tent, where a cradle could have stood, she looked away. No baby cries. No tiny hands. Just silence. The kind of silence that speaks loud in a woman's heart. Sarah, wife of Abraham, had everything: beauty, wealth, a faithful husband, and even the voice of God in her home. But there was one thing she didn't have. The one thing she longed for more than anything else. A child. And because of that one thing, her heart broke slowly, year after year. Like a pot left out in the sun, cracking without noise, but cracking still. This is the story of Sarah, not just a woman of faith, but a woman of deep pain, quiet strength, and finally, divine joy. Sarah married Abraham when they were still called Sarai and Abram. She followed him through deserts, cities, king's courts, and dry lands. Wherever he went, she went. But what people didn't see, what they didn't understand, was the silent war she fought inside. Everyone else had children. Women younger than her, women not even as faithful as her, were mothers. But Sarah remained barren. Each month brought hope, then sorrow. Each year passed with no change. Every new servant girl who gave birth reminded her of what she lacked. Sometimes she smiled for the people, but alone she cried. She wondered, did God forget me? Did I do something wrong? And still, no baby came. Then one day, out of desperation, she made a decision. A hard one. A painful one. She turned to her Egyptian maidservant, Hagar, and said words she never thought she would say. Go sleep with my husband. Maybe I can build a family through her. Those words tasted like sand in her mouth. But what else could she do? She was old, and hope was slipping through her fingers like dust. She gave Hagar to Abraham. And soon after, Hagar became pregnant. At first, Sarah thought she could live with the choice. But then, everything changed. Hagar started to act proud, maybe even disrespectful. She was carrying what Sarah never could. And Sarah, once the respected mistress of the house, felt small in her own home. She felt like a stranger in her own marriage. She watched as Abraham looked at Hagar's belly with amazement. She wondered, is he thinking of her as the mother of his promised child? The wound deepened. Sarah's pain turned to anger. She went to Abraham and said, "This wrong is your fault." She blamed him. She blamed Hagar. But mostly, in her heart, she blamed herself. Sarah treated Hagar so harshly that the young woman ran away into the desert. But God saw. He saw both of them. He spoke kindly to Hagar, told her to return, and promised her child would also become a great nation. But that child, Ishmael, was not the promised one. And the tension in the home never really left. Sarah smiled less. She spoke less. She waited. Quietly, painfully. When Sarah was almost 90, God came again. He spoke clearly to Abraham. Your wife Sarah will have a son. Sarah, listening from inside the tent, laughed. Not out loud. Not with joy. She laughed the way a tired heart laughs. A laugh that says, "That's impossible. It's too late for me." But God said. Why did Sarah laugh? Is anything too hard for the Lord? And it happened. In her old age, Sarah's body changed. Her belly grew. She felt the tiny kicks inside her. She held her child, Isaac, and this time she laughed again. But this laugh was pure joy. She said, "God has brought me laughter. And everyone who hears about this will laugh with me." Sarah's story is more than a story of waiting, it's a story of bitter decisions. Jealousy, heartache, and grace. She didn't always get it right. She tried to help God's promise in her own way, and it brought problems. But even in her mistakes, God remained faithful. She lived long enough to see her arms filled with the very thing she once believed would never come. Sarah's story is for every woman who has ever felt forgotten. For every wife who has cried in silence. For every heart that tried to fix what only God can give. She teaches us this. Even if you feel broken, God is not done with your story. His promise still stands. And nothing, absolutely nothing, is too hard for Him. So if you're waiting like Sarah, hold on. Your laughter will come.